episode, Managing Projects to Success, Schedules, Quality, Competence, and Metrics. Creating tracking and course-correcting project plans and schedules is hard and very complicated. I'm going to share some random ideas that I have on scheduling and planning. When assessing schedules, I have many rules and guidelines. However, one jumps out as simple and immensely important. Always use actual historical data for task estimates, dependency analysis, risk mitigation, quality of work, quality of product, and deliverable performance. The goal is to use historical performance by individuals and teams, even of divisions or entire companies, to create new plans and schedules, and to assess and review them, and track them over time. Validating and refreshing schedules with actual progress of function and quality is key to having confidence in a plan or schedule. The bottom line, schedule and track using actuals versus estimates. When scheduling, I have seen many small things lead to missed deliverables or many days or weeks of overhang work. I look for task estimation to include historical actuals first, but then I look to see the team's task breakdown and their dependencies with time capacity estimates. It's important to define a minimum, maximum, and probable estimate for time and cost for any task or dependency. Understand the variables that would lean towards a minimum or a maximum outcome of estimates, and find ways to minimize the maximum leaning variable risk. Avoid any task breakdown or capacity estimate that is under half a day or that is greater than 5 days. Group small tasks together if they're less than half a day. And break huge tasks that are larger than 5 days into smaller tasks with dependency tasks. Whenever people provide estimates, watch for suspiciously convenient human numbers. People tend to make up numbers, conveniently being increments or factors of the number of fingers they have. That's right, their finger digits on their hands often define their estimates. Again, yeah, people love to estimate things in magical human numbers. They love numbers like 1, 5, or 10. Then they go to 20, 50, and 100, and then 500 and 1,000. You get the idea. Big, round numbers. When you see magical human numbers, ask to see the build-up or the workup that supports what they came to. Examine the supporting tasks and their details. It is possible that the estimate is legitimately a magical human number. Just in my experience, it is usually very improbable. I have an acronym I have used called PFA, when it seemed like estimates were completely made up, pulled from the air, without any analysis or assessment. I would make sure people knew that my acronym of PFA was understood. I would say with a gesture in the air, "Did you just pull that from the air?" And then I would underscore it to make sure they really got it. To make sure they understood that PFA estimates are not great, I would make a slightly vulgar variation of pulled from the air. Pulled from their arse. That's right, pulled from the hiney, from the butt. PFA is pulled from the hindside. I have seen many times project managers and lead engineers defend their schedules with Excel sheets, Microsoft project files, or relentless, complicated Jira task summaries and overviews, all to prove that they had a plan. Well, just having paperwork or documented tasks and estimates being written down does not mean that there is a plan. It does not mean that people are following a plan. It does not mean that people are tracking to a plan or timelines or adhering to the resources or costs available to them. Proceeding with an imprecise, incoherent, so-called plan or schedule has a simple name. It is bull-based development. Did you get that? Bull, like cattle. A bull-based development plan is heralded predominantly as this. Bull-based development is often a collection of chicken scratch notes. Bull-based development may have piles of incohesive, incoherent deliverables, often without inter-team integration. Bull-based development may use tasks with estimates, maybe even show dependencies, but the estimates have no supporting actuals or historical comps to support them. They're just PFA pulled from the air estimates. Bull-based development rarely shows a master roll-up plan from subordinate deliverables, schedules, and teams. To help people remember to watch for bull-based development chicanery, I offer a very visual image to use. Bull-based development is a lot like a Texan Longhorn. I would say the plan has one good point here, and it has another good point here. But there is a whole lot of bull in between those 2 points. Do not make a Texan Longhorn development plan. On to another topic. People tend to be indecisive. They are conflict averse. They often go along for the ride, take the path of least resistance. I contend people are afraid of failure, and that is why they avoid commitment, and they take safer paths. They worry of looking bad to others, or losing their job and livelihood. These are real, legitimate things to worry about. But innovation and extraordinary achievement comes from risk. It is typical. Reward is proportionate to the risk of pursuing it. So, my advice is simply this: celebrate taking risks and reward success. Again, people tend to be indecisive. They avoid taking a stand or making a decision whenever it might cast them in a negative light, even if it might, conversely, cast them in a positive light. That's right. People tend to be indecisive, especially to avoid being cast in a negative light, even at the cost of not looking good in a positive light. Objectivity can be hard. Evangelizing and training objectivity may prove ineffective, if not useless. People just often cannot be objective. They are wired to believe in things, even if not rooted in fact. That's the origin of the phrase confirmation bias. People see and believe things they already want to believe. On a tangent that is related, as you will see, superstition is real, at least to the person who is experiencing it. The thing about superstition is complying with a superstition rarely hurts you or anyone that you know. Ignoring a superstition may hurt you or people that you know. Let me tell you a tale as an example. Imagine, if you will, villagers have warned of a werewolf deep in the forest at night, so no one should enter the forest at night. People that do not go into the forest at night cannot inherently be attacked by the alleged werewolf. However, people that ignore the warning and enter the forest at night vanish, never to be seen from again. Evidently, the lost people is proof that there is a werewolf in the forest at night. However, it could be there was quicksand, wild animals, bandits, all sorts of dangers that are not werewolves. But superstitions do serve a purpose. They protect people. Believing in the werewolf in the dark at night protected people from whatever it was that made them vanish forever. However, let us consider another thing. Superstitions can be used to control people. Like superstitions, people have pre-existing notions and beliefs. It is imperative to get around their innate filters and distorting confirmation biases. It is important to find ways to work with people to ascertain what they really believe in once the superstitions they have are dispelled. It may be impossible to extract honest answers from most people, given that human nature is to gravitate towards their confirmation biases, where they find things that justify their views and reject things that conflict or oppose their views. Rather than arguing with people or pressing them relentlessly to provide more true and more accurate assessments or estimation, I contend that it is preferable to find a tool or a process that removes the emotion and the biases from assessments. For example, imagine a graphics-heavy user interface screen. Quality is both subjective and objective. There are functional things that just must work, and they need to work well for quality. There are experience and interface flows and navigation that must be intuitive for quality. There are presentation things like graphic art and music, sound effects that must look good, sound good, invoke emotion for quality. There are motivation and aspirational experience elements and risk-reward beats and related gamification to keep customer attention and interest. This is not just for games. Experience beats make software flow intuitively, with each beat following its predecessor like a song. Beats can also reward discovery or expand feature use by the customer. Visuals can be an instrumental part of beats, especially as a tutorial flow or action cue. Breaking down experiences into their core components is not easy. It is not intuitive, but I believe it is necessary. Once functionality has been separated from presentation for quality assessment, it is further necessary to stack rank the features and score them according to quality. Functionality is a Boolean test. It works or it does not work per plan and spec. Presentation, however, is a score of 1 to 4. There is no middle, as we've talked before. There is no way to be on the middle of the fence. You must decide which side of good enough it is. 1 or 2, not good enough. 3 or 4, it's good enough. Using a traditional 1 to 5 score, 3 as the safe middle bet is a bad choice because humans will choose that more than any other number. Using a 1 to 4 score, people must choose the side they care about. In summary, about quality. Functionality, it works or it does not work. Yes or no, true or false, a Boolean state. Presentation, a score of 1 to 4. There is no middle score, there shall be no ambiguity. Let's get back to some scheduling best practices. A pet peeve of mine is seeing scheduled tasks with multiple owners or many people working on them. Assigning tasks to groups of people, even if that group is just a pair, it removes trackability of their contribution to progress. It suggests The task was not reduced to a small enough job that can be pieced out to an individual. Some people may argue that some jobs just require multiple people. But knowing that each person will do something themselves inherently proves that their work can be defined and listed separately. It is a lazy manager and scheduler that defends lacking detail or tasks for individuals. No schedule should be without dependency, risk, and threat analysis, and corresponding detection, mitigation, and fallback options should things go too sideways to recover. Make sure to delineate internal risks and external threats. Pay attention to the internal project risks and external threats to the project, the team, the company, and the product and its service when it would be at retail. Books can be written about dependency and risk management. And so my goal here is to simply state that no project should be greenlit to proceed without a detailed dependency, risk, threat, and mitigation assessment and plan. I have shared a lot of functional information here. It may be one of a boring episode for you. Maybe it's not even interesting, but it is my hope to share how-to insights intermingled throughout my tales. I do hope they have been valuable to you.